You're
Well,
good.
I'm honored. I'm honored to have you here with me. I met you 4 years ago and I followed your career and you're amazing. So I want to make sure that I share just everything about you with everyone else. So Danielle Keasling, thank
Yeah,
you for
thank you so much,
being
Tanya,
here.
for having me. My
Yeah.
pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so I wanted to see if you can tell everyone about your journey and how you got to where you are now.
Yeah. Gosh, I've been in the hair industry, beauty professional industry for 28 years already. Never thought, like, when I started that I would say, like, oh, I'm, 28 years down the road, this is what's going to be.
Yeah.
But it just goes by so fast. I've worn every hat in this industry, honestly and
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah, I know.
From getting out of, yeah, all literally, from getting out of a very good school to going into an employee-based salon, then moving down to South Carolina, working in a booth rental salon and like doing my own thing, all the way to owning a salon. And all in between that, I dabbled in session work, flying up to New York every weekend, and that got me into like the fashion side of things. So I believe there's like two worlds in the beauty world, and one is like fashion week and editorial hair and like publications and celebrity stuff. And then you've got like the trade side of things, which is working for brands, doing trade shows, doing education, et cetera, et cetera. And I was very much, when I started my career, on the fashion side of things. Like I didn't even know that the brand side of things really even existed. Like I was working on clients, owning my own salon, and then I was taking every opportunity that I could get, to go up to New York and work on like fashion week and magazine shoots and this, that, and the other. So why it's relevant is when I was up in fashion week, I had met one of the beauty editors for one of the trade magazines. And she was at the fashion show that I was working at. And the more I started talking to her, the more she was like, wait a second, so you own a salon and you don't live in New York. And at the time, I had just started working for Matrix, which is a L'Oreal brand. But I only did that because I had just opened up a salon and I wanted to have the tools and education for my staff. So like I didn't go into like Matrix knowing anything about like being an educator. I like literally did it like a totally self-serving, selfish drive. I mean, I admit it to this day. I'll admit it to my company that like I just did it because I needed like curriculum to give my staff because I couldn't imagine opening up a salon without like leadership and guidance and like education. So it was easier for me to just go like work a couple classes every once in a while for a hair color brand and then get all the education. So I really didn't know the trade side of the industry at all. So I'm talking to this woman and she's like, and I had mentioned, oh, I'm like, yeah, I'm an educator for Matrix. And I didn't know what that really meant, So she was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. And she, in her perception, because she was on the trade side more and in the industry, she was like, this is so cool. Like, we don't get a lot of brand educators that are like editorial stylists. And do you want to do, I would love to do a story on you. And I would love to like invite you up to do a photo shoot for our magazine, Modern Salon. And I was like, I didn't know any different. I was like, oh yeah, that sounds cool. Like,
Yeah.
that would be
Yeah.
interesting. Like I've never, at the time, I never worked with an industry publication. So I thought, oh, that's different and it's interesting. And
Mhm.
um, so that happened. And then
Mhm.
that photo shoot ended up getting the cover of Modern Salon.
I know.
So in a weird way, then my cover was
Mhm.
blown because Matrix here was like, who is this artist that works for us, and how did she get the cover Modern Salon, and why don't we know who she is? and
Yeah.
and then in Modern Salon's eyes, they were just listening to my story about being an
Mhm.
editorial stylist and then like working for a brand to get like the education, but I didn't even know what I had at the time, so like I couldn't even communicate that, so it just kind of haphazardly happened, and it was like one of those things where they thought, I think it was bigger than what it was. I was like literally teaching like I was teaching classes for $75 a class and like in the middle of
Really?
nowhere. Sorry, my dog.
It's
In the
okay.
middle of nowhere, just because I just wanted the education to give my staff. So like it
Mhm.
wasn't like this big like blown up. I wasn't like this big educator, but I think that they assumed that I was
Yeah.
because I was doing fashion week stuff. So
Yeah.
it's just funny how things happen because like perception, right, is that person's reality, and like it was
Mhm.
not the reality of my
Yeah.
situation. Like I had zero clue about the
Really?
side of this
But
industry.
look at
So
you now.
yeah.
You're like a rock star. You have so much going on. I was looking at your website. I mean, you're a coach, you have several companies. I mean,
Yeah,
how do
it's
you
changed
even
a
put
lot. My
that
like
all
whole world.
together?
Yeah, that
You
that
have
cover changed
so
a
much.
lot.
Yeah, you have so much going on. So, can you tell us a little bit about your coaching and what you offer, what type of advice you can give other people?
Yeah. Yeah, so I got into the coaching aspect. Well, and technically now that I'm on the industry side of things, now working for these brands, I am a coach. Like that's what I do,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
mentor other hairstylists, and as teams, we need to bring everyone up in order to do these shows and to put on these productions. And during COVID, when we
Mhm.
were all like, what do we do now?
I know,
Um,
right?
is when I really like embraced what
Mhm.
I was independently doing on the side. Like I was already starting a coaching business
Mhm.
with another gal who's in the industry. It ended up not working out. We had
Yeah.
different points of view, but then during COVID, it gave me the time to go, what do I want to do with this? Like, what is this something that I want to make a business out of? And, I had sold, thank God, somebody looking out for me. I had already sold my salon pre-COVID, so I
Oh,
didn't have
okay.
that anymore. And I had the time to like kind of iron out what Hair Biz and Beyond was. And so I did a lot of coaching during COVID, virtually, obviously. And then now I'm just starting to re-pick it back up. When I went back to work after COVID, like it was full on with all the brands. But now I'm kind of at a place where I think the world's almost normal. I don't know if we can say that yet, but we're at a
A
steady
little bit, a
place,
little bit.
right? So
Yeah.
it's better, and now I'm starting to focus back on to like what
More
that
of
looks
that.
like, and that
Oh,
for
that
me
makes
look
sense.
that for me is what I really do love to do that. Like that is
Mhm.
what fills my cup up. Like after 28 years of doing this, you're just kind of like, all right, like
Mhm.
I'd rather have somebody else win those awards.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you have to, start somewhere. And I mean, what is Hair Biz and Beyond?
Hair Biz and Beyond is basically like it's a platform for hair, not just hair professionals, but beauty professionals. And what we're building now is we're building programs that
Mhm.
people will be able to purchase, and they'll be very niche. Like one that I was literally just on with my business partner, finalizing is going to be literally like how to there's so many free tools out there that you can
Yeah.
tap into that will increase your salon profits and in
Mhm.
exposure that people just don't even know. Like we have such a strong emphasis in the beauty professional world to be on Instagram.
Mhm.
And so we use Instagram to basically do everything. And there's
Yeah.
so many other tools out there that can bring awareness and drive business into your salon that people just forget about, and they're free.
Mhm.
And so like This whole program is based on like what are things that, you know, don't cost you a single thing that you should be doing and utilizing in order to drive more business into your chair.
That is so
So
cool, Danielle.
that's one aspect. And then we do one-on-one coaching. We also have a media company now that
Wow.
we basically help people build their brand, build their websites, build their online presence.
Is it already out?
Every hmm?
Is it already out?
So Hair Biz and Beyond is out. Like you can
Okay.
get one-on-one private coaching and consulting.
Mm-hmm.
The scalable, like the actual program that we're starting,
Mm-hmm.
which is, you know, our thought process was how do we touch more people? There's only
Mm-hmm.
one of me and there's only one of my business partners. So how do we
Yeah.
spread the love, you know, at a greater capacity?
Mm-hmm.
That one is actually going to be launched here hopefully in the next week or two. And then I'm actually working with my dear friend who is a photographer who does a lot of my collections. We're going to be
Mm-hmm.
building some programs too for people that are interested in building their own collections. And
Gosh,
yeah,
that's
we've got a lot of irons in the fire right now, but we're excited. Like I wanted I wanted to be able to help more people.
mm-hmm. No, your portfolio is huge. I mean, whoever doesn't know who you are, I mean, when people ask me, I'm like, where have you been? She's freaking amazing. I mean, I follow you all the time. I mean, yeah, somebody spent some time in Paris recently and then went over to Dubai and then the Bentley with the lights. I was like, oh my God, Danielle,
I
that is
mean,
so
you know, the thing
freaking
is, the industry's
amazing.
changed. The industry's
Yeah,
changed a lot. And, you know, I mean, while I look like I'm in my 20s, no,
you are, you are.
I'm not. No, you know, and that's the thing. Like, I'm in my mid 40s, and the way that the industry was 15, 10 even years ago is very different than the way it is now. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of, you know, emphasis on social media, and I totally get it. And, you know, like it's the new way of the world, and we all need to embrace it and
Mhm.
know that it's not going anywhere. But it definitely it's a different world. So like if you're not, you know, one of these social media Instagram hairstylists that have 100,000 followers, I get it. I totally get it. Like it, and I don't take offense to it. Like
Yeah.
you know, bigger picture is
Mm-hmm.
kind of what we're doing now is where my heart is cuz I'll
Mm-hmm.
be honest, I don't mind social media, but I also like one of my biggest coaching things is like what who are you as a brand
Yeah.
if Instagram decides to just like change the game and switch off.
Yep.
And not
But
that I think that that's ever going to happen.
you never
However,
know.
you don't own your Instagram page. Meta owns your Instagram page. You know, so
Mm-hmm.
like what else are you doing as a brand
Mm-hmm.
to protect yourself?
Yeah,
Because
no, I
we
think
also never thought that we were going to have COVID. We thought this beauty industry is like indestructible. Like we're never going to not have a job.
yeah.
Well, look what happened.
There you go, 2 years. Yeah, 6 weeks became 2 years is horrible. I think everybody
Crazy.
can agree with that.
So that's where, you know, that's where I always caution people. I'm like, don't put all of your eggs into one basket.
Yeah.
You know, like you should be spread out through all social platforms as well as like what happens if like you only own your own brand. Like you
Right.
don't own any of the other stuff.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes a lot of sense. And I also think a lot of these people out there are making a lot of money really quickly. But us, I'm also in my mid 40s, um, we, we think differently. We think about money differently. The way that we process that we were taught is completely different. You see a lot of influencers coming up, and then a year later, they're gone because either their look went away or they're done teaching what they know. They don't know what to do with their money. Or there's other people that are on the other side that basically don't they have all that talent, but they don't know how to, bring it out. Their
Correct.
fear is, a big thing when it comes to our industry. Just,
Yeah. Well,
yeah, if you
we have
think of it.
fear. Yeah, we have, right?
Yeah.
We have fear, and then we have imposter syndrome, and we have
Yes.
like
Yes.
keeping up, like, and there's, I mean, our industry, I don't want to say
It's
superficial, but like,
brutal.
think about it.
It's
Like, so I
brutal.
just did a
Yeah.
podcast yesterday, and
Mhm.
this woman, she just did a movie. It was so cool. Something vanity.
You're gonna have to
Uh,
share.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was. It'll come up. It'll pop in my head. But like, um, it's really interesting though, because right, we are in a industry that's all about vanity,
Yes.
right? But so it's
Yeah.
hard sometimes to like ground ourselves
Yeah.
because it's not so much superficial, but it's all about how beautiful can we make the hair, how beautiful can we make the
Yeah.
makeup, how beautiful can we make people, and it kind of gets away from you. Like,
Yeah.
you can go down that rabbit hole really easily.
Yeah.
So being able to remain grounded, and also like being that person in for your clients, for your staff, for other hairdressers that are,
Mhm.
that's like setting the example of like, what does that look like, what does being grounded in this industry look like, and healthy, like, and not being burnt out.
Yeah, because honestly, let's be real. We're hairstylists slash therapists. I
Oh,
think I've
100%.
heard it all. I've heard
100%.
a lot of different things, and then you take that home, and then once again you compare yourself to these other hairstylists, and you start thinking, you know what, I'm not good enough. I don't look that way. I don't talk that way. So then
100%.
you have all this talent, and your own brain just works against you and you end up just quitting. There's a lot of stylists that I know that just quit,
Yeah.
that are just like, I'm done with this. And it does have to do a lot with social media.
Yeah.
I have teenagers at home, and all their friends are like, on their phones. Oh, look at this girl. She looks like this, and everything is about likes now. Everything's superficial. They're not showing you the real them. They're showing you what they want to show you,
I always
so
equated. I laugh because I don't know if you're with someone or not, but I am single, and I'm like, the dating scene is like grueling because I'm like, I think that like people just kind of swipe, 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 and it's like,
yes,
and like
left, left.
that is the reality of like the world that we live in right now, is like
Mhm. Yep.
everyone's just comparing themselves to one another. And
Yeah.
as a hairstylist in a very saturated market of Instagram hairstylists, and
Mhm.
that, I'm not categorizing an
Yeah.
a
No, it's
hairstylist as an
true. It's
Instagram
true.
hairstylist. I'm just saying, being a hairstylist that's like putting your work out on Instagram, period, like,
Hmm.
it becomes a like, there's so many, so like, what can
Yeah.
you do to set yourself apart? And it's
Yeah.
like, I say this and I relate this back to dating apps. It's like,
Hmm.
there's a million women out there that are being swiped on, right? And it's like, there's a lot of pretty women out there. There's a lot of things that we can do to enhance our looks. So like,
Yeah.
whether you're 20 or 45, like, you
Yeah.
know, there's a lot that can be done, but how do you set yourself apart? How do
Yeah.
you like, how do you make yourself look like the way you want, as far as like why are you different? Why are you different than any other woman? Why are you different than any other hairstylist? What do you provide your audience that is something that is a different totally different avenue?
Yeah, I'm a big mental health advocate. That's one of my, biggest things. And I think that should be taught in beauty school, honestly. You go out there and you're basically thrown out there and you're like, okay, these are the people that are making the most money. Kind of try to look like that or try to do this. You go out there and you can't match it.
Yeah.
Some people can match it. Some people just their strength overpasses the way they look once again and they give up.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about the mentality going into a business like this?
Um, I think that you have to find mentors. I think that, our industry as a whole is
Mhm.
very network heavy.
Yeah.
And I think, I believe I met you in California, correct? When I was
Yeah,
sitting on
2019.
the panel for leading ladies,
Yep.
right?
Yes.
So, that you were brave enough to introduce yourself and keep a connection open. And I think that that speaks volumes, and it should speak volumes to anyone listening to this podcast and anyone following you, is that you never know what you don't know, and you never know what's going to come
Right.
out of putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
And you know it's a scary thing, because mentally I think that society and we
Yeah.
like build this story up in our heads that really doesn't even exist,
Yeah.
and when you just have the courage and you just put yourself out there, usually magic
Mhm.
happens. Usually
Oh
people
yeah.
are really happy, especially in this industry, to share and to connect. And, we're just bred, like hairdressers are bred to like service and connect and give. And, like it's a
Mm-hmm.
shame when people feel intimidated or like they're afraid to like put themselves out there, because 9 times out of 10, I think that you're always going to get a positive reaction.
Yeah. Well, Danielle, I'm here to tell you that you're one of the very few that was actually available to, and that you were humble, or I don't even know the words for it, but that you actually wrote back. I was very, very surprised because I did reach out to other people. I always tell my daughters, back in my days, it used to be easier, people would talk, more openly. But now I've noticed that it's not like that anymore. I know stylists right now that used to work for really big companies, and not even just that, just stylists that own salons together. Where, when I owned my salon, something as silly as, I'm not going to share my formula with you because, you're going to copy me. And then there's so much jealousy out there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
honestly, like, I thank you so much for actually writing back and actually, keeping in communication with me, because you're one of very few that are actually still like that. So yeah,
Oh,
thank you. Yeah.
thanks.
So when it comes to money, we all want to make money. We all want to be successful, but there's a certain way that you have to think in order to create.
Yeah,
Um,
hold on.
so
I'm gonna shut my door because my cleaning lady's here. She just turned the vacuum
ah,
on.
okay.
Um, money. Yes.
Yeah.
Money. Relationships with money are always okay. Relationships with money are always an interesting thing for me,
Mm-hmm.
especially when I'm coaching people. because I think that it's separate of this industry. Like
Mhm.
your relationship with money is the relationship that we were taught probably
Mhm.
as children.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of us we have to make sure that we like handle and acknowledge, outside of our business practices, who we are when it comes to money. Some of us are like have no issues with money and we're spenders, and then some of us, have like a very frugal mindset. I was one of those people that even though I came from a family that they made their money because they worked really hard, but they weren't like by any means like what we would consider rich these days.
Yeah.
But like my father was incredibly frugal, um,
Really?
crazy. And so like I grew up very like in a weird way. Like so my father was very frugal. My mother was like a spender. So I grew up like going to the mall and with my mom's
Like,
credit card and buying like ridiculous amounts of money of clothes, and then my dad
yeah.
and then have to hide them from my dad. So like I bad method. And like as a kid, I had like all sorts of like problems
Yeah.
as far as with money. And so
Yeah.
as an adult, same, like even getting into the industry and being around people that, you have both walks, and, people were wearing their Versace boots and they're this and they're that. And I was like, oh my God, I would never spend that kind of money on a bag or a freaking pair of shoes or like, and then as I worked through my own issues with like
Mhm.
limiting beliefs and money,
Yeah.
now I treat myself to what I feel comfortable with. But like, I think in the grand scheme of things, we all know that beauty professionals can make a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, the sky is the limit in this industry. It
Mhm.
is one of the most profitable areas of industry growth in a multi-billion dollar capacity.
Mhm.
And there's so many ways to go about it. I think it's really like a number of things. It's your relationship with money, it's your goal setting,
Yeah.
and it's your priorities and your commitment
Right.
to, what you need to do. Like we are all creative and we are all artists, but like there's few, or we just need to inquire help then to get like that business side of things. And one of the things that I tell people is not everyone is left and right brained. And if you're not,
Right.
that's totally fine. But like lean on somebody then that can help you with that, because and
Mhm.
that's not a problem. Like nobody should
Yeah.
beat themselves up over it. Like, if business and money isn't your strength, then find somebody who's that is their strength and partner with them, because that is like that's even the best combination.
Yeah.
That's even the golden combination is, there's very few people that are both side brained. And
Mhm.
there's just so much money to be made in this business, and it doesn't have to be necessarily just behind the chair. There's so many avenues and growth and different ways to make money.
Yeah.
And it's the people that are making the money that really I see have like they're not doing it by themselves. Like
No.
they're
No, it's
doing
a
it
group
through connections or groups,
connection.
or you gotta like find those people that you trust and like,
Mhm.
like work through it. But just like any business, like I I'm thriving right now to show that entrepreneurial side of this industry, because it can be very valuable.
No, I love that. I mean, I love watching your stuff. I'm like living through you. I'm like, I've been married 25 years, so
Oh,
and I
good
have
for you.
thank you. And yeah, I have teenagers at home right now, so
Aw.
I'm like, oh, Danielle, take me somewhere else. Show me pictures. I want to see everything
I
you're
mean,
doing. Oh, I
it
love
looks fun,
it.
but like I wouldn't give up 25 years of marriage, trust me.
Well, just kidding. I'm like,
There's
let's trade
something beautiful
places.
about that. There's
Yeah,
something beautiful about that. Like
thank you.
it's not always as Instagram makes it look.
Yes, yes. And that's what I'm telling my daughters. That's what I want to teach the younger generation. I always said, when I, make all this money, when I'm doing all this stuff, I'm gonna start a foundation and I want to help all, especially these young little girls. I see the kids that go to my daughter's school and there's so much depression, there's so much anxiety, and I think it's all based on social media. And
That
I
imposter
being
syndrome.
in yeah, me being in the beauty industry, I kind of feel somewhat responsible because I mean, we're the ones that put that out there for these kids. So I want to
Yeah.
make sure that, they know, this is not what people post is not always, real. They
Mm.
post what they want to show, but the biggest thing for me is just letting them know that they're beautiful as they are, and we're just here to kind of enhance that beauty.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important to teach the younger ones now, the new ones that are coming out of beauty school, that, they have to kind of balance both and kind of, once again, we're basically their therapists. We hear everything. We're standing there blow drying hair, listen to them about, divorce and, everything that they've gone through and just what a stressful week they've had.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we have a really big responsibility when it comes to teaching these young girls, this new
Youth.
generation about
Yeah.
youth,
No, it's
about,
really good. You need to connect with the gal I had a podcast with yesterday.
oh,
The conscious hairdresser.
oh, okay. You
You
can give
will
me the
love
info.
her. Yeah.
Really, you can give me the info and I'll contact her later.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing. But yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to get people together that have the mentality that you do, because I see that it's so strong in you that you actually want to help other people. Like I
Yeah.
said, you think that there's a lot of people, or maybe you know a lot of people that are like you, but there isn't. You're like one of the very few that actually is like, come on, I'll help you. I'll do this with you. So you need to
Yeah.
give yourself, a
Thank you.
pat on the back and hands up. You're amazing, like honestly.
Thanks. I
But
try, and I feel that that's
oh,
what we
you
should
are.
do. So,
No, you are. And I think some of the first videos that I'm going to be putting out there, once again, it has to do with fear. And I think you're like a really good example of just how outgoing and just, you know, go out there, do this. And I think a lot of people should kind of pick up the mentality you do. How do you do it? How are you just comfortable and just like beautiful and like this all the time? Like, well, that's how I see you.
girl. Other people would say otherwise.
What? No, no,
No,
no.
no, no, no. It's just funny because like there's been situations where people are like, every time I see you, you look like you're like a bag lady, like you're pulling things out of your
What?
purse.
No,
It's
no.
like, no. So fear is a real thing. Like
Yeah,
we would be inhuman if we didn't have fear. I think that anyone that says they don't fear things or fear growth or fear rejection or fear the future, like people would be lying. Like
yeah,
we all have fear. It might just be on different levels,
levels. Yeah,
but like we all have we all have it. It's just how we balance it and what we choose to do with it. And also like what do we like how do we fuel it? Like I think that I had to get over the the fear of rejection.
yeah.
Like you just y-
How? I mean, how did you do that?
lots of rejection.
A
Like
lot
you
of
just
no's,
get
and
to
then
a point where
you're
you're
kind of just
like,
like,
I surrender to
like whatever.
rejection. No, I mean, so I guess the, I guess my mindset, that's such a good question because it's like you're getting into my mindset is
Yeah.
like, my mindset is like, what if?
Oh,
Like,
okay.
what if I didn't? What if I didn't just reach out and see? What
Mhm.
if I didn't take the time when it felt like I should take the time to do that, meet that
Mhm.
person, go do whatever was that opportunity? What if, and I will say that there's been times in my life, and this is just like now, like kind of triggered something that just, I remember when I was like refinancing my house, and this was like 6 years ago, and I
Mhm.
don't even know how this just got popped into my brain, but I remember my loan officer being like, "What if hell freezes over? Like, what the fuck?" Like,
Yeah.
sorry my language, but like, I
Yeah.
was like, because I was like, "What if? What if? What if? What if?" And he was
Yeah.
like, what if hell freezes over, girl? Like, you are what ifing every scenario to this. And I remember just like sitting there going, whoa, okay, that was a big, like,
Mhm.
not offense, not offended, but like I thought,
Yeah.
wow, that was a big aha moment. It was
Like,
like, wow, am I that person? Am I like what ifing everything to death? And,
mhm.
at that point, and that wasn't like what made me who I am, but like at that point, I really realized, like we do play that game. We do
We
play that
do.
game in our head a lot. Like we want to stay safe. We want to stay,
Yeah.
we don't want rejection. We don't want to like deal with like negative, complicated situations. So we could what
Yeah.
if ourselves to death. And at the end of the day, that's not going to progress you forward. And, if you are comfortable, then you're probably, chances are probably not growing, you
Yeah.
know? And
Yeah.
that's what I always say. Am I uncomfortable right now? Or am I comfortable right now?
Yeah.
And being
Yeah.
comfortable
That's
is
good.
absolutely okay. There were times in my career where I wanted to be comfortable. I won't lie. COVID
Mhm.
was one of them. Like I was watching everybody like focusing and growing on their business, and I was at that point in my life and my career so burnt out that I all I wanted to do was like go bike and like run and exercise and like drink
Mhm.
wine and just not and just check out. And like I
Mhm.
literally like look back on it and I'm like, what the hell did I do for 2 years? Like
Yeah. I don't know what the fuck I did either. I stayed at home with
I'm
my
like, and
kids.
all these people have like all these amazing things that like flourish from it. And I was like, I can promise you
Yeah.
that that was not me. Like I
Yeah.
killed myself up into till it, and I opened right back up into the world. But during those
Mhm.
2 years, I was just like checked out. So
Yeah.
it's okay to go through periods where you're not
Mhm.
growing and you're fearing growth because it's like a self-preservation situation. But
Mhm.
I think that like when you are ready to like step forward into growth, you need to always, that's like your way to assess it is, are you
Mhm.
comfortable? And if you are
Mhm.
comfortable, you probably need to make yourself uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's one of the hardest thing to do. I think with me, it's that, and it's also me comparing myself. Honestly, I think those are my two big things, the rejection, or, I'm not as good as this person. And
Yeah.
once again, I hear it from the youth and I'm like, no, I'm gonna introduce you to people
Yeah.
like like you
Yeah.
that know how to get past this fear barrier. And I mean,
Yeah.
it's not going to be easy, but it can be done. And I mean, you're proof that it can be done. So, yeah, no, you sharing that, thank you. It's amazing. But yeah, there's just a lot going on out there, and we do need more people like you that actually speak about it. And, like I said, I saw you 2019, and just watching you and listening to you speak, you just made sense. Like you made sense. And then you were so real,
Yeah.
like I don't know how to explain it, but you were just real. It just felt right. Like I felt like a connection. So as soon as you did that, I'm like, huh, I'm gonna do this, and here are my goals. And then I just did it. I ended up working for somebody, really high up in the industry too. But then again, COVID, and then my girls, and
Yeah.
life stops you.
Yeah.
It stops you. But
Yeah.
again, you have
But you have
to,
to give it grace. Like
yeah,
give it grace and move on.
yeah.
You know?
No, you have to. Or you have to look at something just differently.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm not going to go back into the salon or if I'm not going to do this, then what can I do to help others? You know, what can I do to help other stylists or, you know, anybody in any other industry? You know, how can I help them? So I think this is the way that I feel that I can help other people by introducing them to people like you know, that shows them that it can be done and the type of mentality that you have that lets you have the lifestyle that you have now. So I think
Yeah.
that's really, really important. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're doing good things. That's amazing. And like you're dialed in and that's so important. You know, that's one thing too that like when you know when you know what your purpose is, it's easier to
Mhm.
execute it. When you're, you know, kind of like I'm not really sure, I kind of want to do this, I kind of want to do that, like it's challenging. And so like the fact that you're grounded in your mindset, you should just keep really driving that.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so now let's switch over. What's this whole thing about 40 over 40 or 40 on what is it?
40 and fabulous. That was the thing that I just
Yeah.
like. That was their new beauty magazine. I got nominated for
Uh-huh.
this competition. I didn't get into the last round, which is totally
What?
fine. No, and I had like so many people, like everyone knows about it,
Yeah.
so it's so funny. Like I'm not really sure like what how they do it and whatever, but
Yeah.
I had so much support through the industry and so many people that like were like I'm voting for you every day, and
Yeah.
it was a great cause. It all, you know, went to breast cancer research, and
Mhm.
you know, it was a great cause. I will definitely encourage people to do it next year. I think that it's, you know, just it was a fun little journey. But nope, I didn't get in. But that's good.
You're
I
still
thought about
amazing. You're
reaching out
still
to New
doing
Beauty
great.
and
You
being
still
like,
don't
hey,
look
I'll do the
40.
hair and makeup.
Still don't do look you don't look 40, so it's okay.
Oh, thank you.
But
Well,
you're putting that out there too. That's another thing that I've encountered, you know, in Instagram. There's a lot of moms that are in our 40s at home and no one talks about, you know, us
age.
right now. Yes. Yes. I didn't even know how to say it, but
It's
yeah,
fine.
we
I
see our
own it. Like I don't even care.
because
Like
you don't even look like it.
well, you know, and it's so crazy because there's days where I feel it, and then there's days where I'm like, no, I don't, you know. But you know,
Uh-huh.
you go back and forth, and there's days where I'm like, holy crap, I need like my eyes tucked, and I'm like, but like I'll talk about
I'm
it.
like,
That
crap.
is like human. We're human, you know, and like that's the thing. Like if men act like they don't think this, that's bullshit. Like
That's true.
it's just they don't express it. And like a lot of
Yeah.
women don't express it. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but we all like let's be real. You get on social media
Yeah.
and you're like, yeah, okay. Like, okay, no one wants to talk about age, but everyone's reverse
Yes.
aging now. So like
Yes.
let's be
Yes.
honest.
I know. I know I
You
sent you a message. I'm like, what are you doing with your skin? Why do you always look so perfect?
I mean,
You
it's
look
like,
perfect.
and that's people are like, God, you are so like, you just put it out there. And I'm like,
I love it.
I
Love
just
that.
like, it is what it is. And
Yes.
every single person out there that's like reverse aging is doing the same shit. They just don't want to talk about
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
I'm
No, you're
like,
I see that. Your little machine. I don't even know what that is. The little red machine you use.
I have so many
I'm like,
machines,
what is
girl.
that? I'm like, what
David
is
Lopez,
that?
we were just in Atlanta for Ulta Beauty, and he's like, "Oh, show Danielle. She loves gadgets." I was like, "I'm not sure how to take that."
I'm like, what is that? Like her skin is just like perfect all the time, and I'm always red and like patchy. I need to ask.
The little micro needling thing. That's glow. What is that? I'll send it to you. It's beauty bio. It's a micro needling device
Mm.
with a red light attached into it.
Is it on one of your like stand I forgot you have a whole bunch of links for different things.
Yeah, I
Like,
do.
okay,
I do a lot of
yeah.
influence stuff.
So I'm
No, but
40. What do you suggest?
actually my all-time favorite
Hmm.
skincare routine is it's professional. You have to go to a professional, but it's the skin pen. It's PRP microneedling.
Okay.
100% die hard on that. Like
Yeah.
yeah, it works. Like better than anything I've ever done.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
you do have a lot of affiliate links. How do you even choose them? Is it something like you buy, you love, and then you're like, okay,
Yeah,
I'm gonna reach out to
I
them?
won't associate myself with things that I don't use. I don't do
Mm-hmm.
it for money. I'm actually super terrible with the collecting the money. To be honest with you, if any
Yeah.
brands are watching this, like send me a good product, and I usually don't even like cash in on my income.
Yeah.
Like it's like doing my expense reports. It's like terrible. No,
Yeah.
I won't associate myself with anything that I don't use or don't believe in.
Mm.
So, like people will say like you're kind of all over the place. Like you're representing coffee brands and you're doing, and I'm like, yeah, but that's because my lifestyle. That's
Love.
like what I
That's
do.
what I
That's what I
love.
drink. Like I drink Danger coffee. I ice plunge. Like I'm like this
I
brand
saw
actually.
that. Oh my God,
You
you're
know,
crazy. I
but
see
like
that.
I
Like,
that's
this
my
is so
lifestyle. So
brave.
like like why would I not put it out there if I'm gonna be like
Yeah.
authentic and like
Yeah.
so yeah. I
Yeah, I
mean
think that's the most
that's
recent one, right? The coffee.
yes, that
But
coffee
it's
is actually amazing coffee. It tastes amazing and it does not rip up your stomach. So I love it.
so,
Like, and I'm like, why would I not? My goal is to, and this is a little bit of like where I'm going in the future, my
mhm,
brand is to bring more awareness into. I love that you said mental health. I think that on a level of like your gut and
mhm.
your heart and your mind. And you have to take care of your gut in order to follow your heart and to lead with your mind.
Oh, that's
And
smart.
I think that, like, we can just because of the personalities of being in the service industry, we tend to not
Mhm.
take care of ourselves, where you can only serve so many people when you're feeling broken yourself. And like when you're feeling whole and when you feel good, you can do of so much more service to
Oh, yeah.
anyone else. So
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. No, I love that you feel the same way that I do. It's important, like I said, to have people like you that are very, very successful to actually say it. A lot of people just don't say it, don't want to admit that, they're real, they have real lives. We have puppies at home.
yeah,
We
I
pick up
mean, I
after them.
used to be that person, so I get it. Like I wouldn't. I used to like not take care of myself, and then B, if I did, I felt so much shame or guilt for it that I wouldn't post about it or I wouldn't communicate it. And now I'm like, fuck it. Like, I went
Yeah.
to yoga this
Oh,
morning. Yeah. Did I have to get up early to like put makeup on so I could do this? Yeah. But like, did I did I rearrange my schedule? Like, I was like, I need to do this because if I don't do this, like, I'm gonna be by 5 o'clock. I've got a client coming in. I'm not gonna be like
I feel like
at my
shit.
capacity. So
Yeah.
like you have to, and that's okay. And did I
Mhm.
miss 15 minutes of my meeting with Great Links today? Uh-huh. I did. I did. And I was like, one of them's probably gonna watch my social media and call me out on it and be like, she was at yoga, she wasn't at the bath.
Hey,
But
where's Danielle?
I was like,
Yeah,
I
having a routine is
cannot be
so important.
everything for everybody,
Yeah, yeah.
and
That makes
you
that
have
makes
to set boundaries.
yeah. Oh, that's another big issue, setting boundaries. That's like a whole other topic, but yeah. There's a lot to learn from you. So I am really excited to see everything that you're putting out there. And I'm gonna check it all out. And of course, I want everybody to go onto her Instagram, um, her website. She's got so much stuff on there, and I think it's very important for you guys to see it because she's real. You know, she's real. She will show you the real shit. She's not gonna bullshit you about, you know, look at this because they're paying me for it. No, she's the real deal, guys. So, you know, check her out. So I really love that you're on here, Danielle. Is there anything else that you think that we should share that is really important?
Um, anything else I think we should no, I just think that, I think my top, I would say, like, leading into 2024, my
Mhm,
top three, like, values, or my core values for, like, this year,
mhm,
is going to be taking care of yourself,
mhm.
not letting fear get in the way, and
Yeah,
opening up your connections,
yeah,
and then also being grateful.